I'm watching every 90s anime in release order starting with the winter season of 1990. If a show released before that, I won't be covering it. If a show has a season 1 that came out before 1990, I won't be watching season 2 or any of the movies or specials that came out in the 90s. I watched the entirety of every show minus a few exceptions here and there. I'll cover those when I get there, and this is part 2. We'll be picking up right where we left off with the first video. First up, released in December 1st, 1990, Devil Hunter Yohko. This one's 6 40-minute episodes based on a 1-volume manga. Some of these shows are 18 plus in the violence, blood, and guts kind of way. This show is 18 plus in the naked way. This one opens up with a smooch. This girl and boy are about to get it on, but these vines grab the boy, and the girl wakes up. It was just a dream. This is our hero Yohko. She's a boy crazy 16-year-old who lives at home with her mama and her grandma. Her friends at school are Asumu, this boy who has a crush on her, and Chi, her bestie. One morning they're late for school and they get in trouble when the principal tells Asumu that she wants to see him in her office. And when he gets there, well, they have some naked times. They got the Chi and Yohko at a pool. Yohko falls into the pool and gets attacked by this tentacle monster and screams off. The demon explodes her bathing suit, but she gets away, and you see, Yohko is the 108th devil hunter in an ancient line of devil hunters. She needs to be a virgin or she won't be able to become a devil hunter, and the principal is a devil in disguise. So her goal is to make Yohko not a virgin so the devils can do devil stuff and no one can stop them. Oh, we're gonna get away with it. The principal made Asumu sexy with devil magic, and now he's under her control. So he uses devil magic to put the moves on Yohko. Ooh. And when he kisses her, it gives her that damn look in her eyes. And he takes her to a hotel. And it almost works. But Grandma shows up to save the day. She's the 107th devil hunter. It skips a generation. Grandma explains all the devil hunter stuff to her that I said a second ago. That night, the devils lay another trap for her. They use her friend Chi, who's also being mind controlled. And then, Yohko gets caught in some spider goo. And Grandma, she comes to save her again, but she gets injured. Then she gives Yohko this ring. Wearing that ring gives her devil hunter powers. So she goes to fight the devil in its devil lair. And when she gets there, she transforms like Sailor Moon transforms into full devil hunter mode. And she summons a sword. Yo, look at her face when she summons that sword. She fights with the devil and her clothes take more of a beating than her for real. The fight scene's alright. She jumps on a sword, which is always cool. She beats the devil, saves the day, and everyone's fine. Yay. So starts her devil hunter life. Every episode is her dealing with a new devil and just ecchi stuff. From devils haunting construction sites to long lost demon lovers, Yoko's gotta do it all while they get her naked as much as they can. Yo, that drinking Sunday looked great. The school has a clock tower. What they go to school at? My school ain't had no clock tower. Yo, this chant.
Babi uba didum ba, bibi baba el akbar.
Yo, you can make a beat off of that. Episode 4 is a 30-minute music video, and it took me 6 minutes to realize that. I was just looking at the screen like damn, this intro is long. She ends up defeating the big bad devil Tokina. He's all rah, rah, rah. And in the last episode, it turns out that Yoko's grandma has a vindictive twin sister, and now Yohko has an identical cousin, Ayoko, that is out to ruin her life. They be big fighting it in the streets, but a devil shows up and they gotta put aside their differences to defeat it. And that's how the show ends. The show was fine. I give it. What were the voice acting directions in this scene here? Yeah, can you just go 4 times? That would be great. Oh, perfect. Out of 10. Up next, releasing December 1st, 1990, Vampire Wars. This is a 55-minute movie based on a series of novels starring our main character, Kuki. Kuki used to work as a spy for several countries, but now he's been working solo for a while. He gets framed for murder, ambushed, and captured by some thugs for Lasar. Lasar's this guy that wants Kuki to do a job for him, but Kuki manages to escape. Then comes back under his own terms. Yeah, he asks what the job is. Yeah, I come. You want a job? I'm gonna show up. You don't kidnap me. Lasar wants Kuki to figure out what the CIA is up to. They're working on a project called Dracula, and he wants to know what it is. What could Project Dracula fucking be? Kuki accepts, so Kuki starts to spy on this doctor, and he watches him get vampire killed by a vampire, and then the vampire runs away. He zip lines over there, and the doc says, this woman named Lamia is in trouble. Now, this is Lamia. And when we first see her, he goes, oh, isn't that Kiki? And then they're like, oh, no, Kiki's not her real name. Like, that's just her stage name. Her real name is Lamia. She's a singer or something. When they first said Kiki, I was like, yo, they just gave me a show with Kiki and Kuki. Like, this is gonna be great. This is gonna be hilarious. So I am just gonna call her Kiki. So Kuki rushes over to Kiki's hotel where all her bodyguards have been killed, and the vampire is about to suck her blood. And Kuki's trying to help, but the vampire uses its psychic powers to push Kuki into the wall, and it runs away. When Kiki wakes up, she tells Kuki some weird stuff like this has been happening to her for 6 months. And the next day they go to her aunt's house for a safe place to hide. Kiki recently did her blood work because of all the weird stuff going on, and it turns out there's something in her blood that isn't found in any living organism on Earth. And this really upsets her. She runs away crying. I would have been like, oh, I'm some kind of anime special? Chosen One stuff? Yeah, it makes sense. That's why I'm so cool. The vampire shows up outside, and Kuki goes outside to fight him. It dodges everything he does with ease, but then it backs up into a tree, and that gives Kuki the advantage. Oh, and he chops it in the neck. And he thinks he won. He starts to walk away. What an absolute dummy. The vampire gets back up because it's fine, and it walks away after that. In the sunlight, too. I guess that doesn't work here. Then he gets back inside and smooches on Kiki. Ooh. Kuki goes out to buy a gun and tells Lasar that he's not handing over Kiki. So their deal's off. When he gets back to the hideout, Kiki went out because she heard on the radio that these bad guys had a brother, but it's a trap, and he's got to go save her from Lasar. Then he gets to Lasar's mansion and he kills most of the people in the house. But Kiki isn't there though. Your princess is in another castle. Lasar gave her to the CIA, and Kuki shoots Lasar. Then the vampire shows up and knocks Kuki out. When he comes to, they have a chit chat, and it's law time. Ah, yes, it's law time. And the train is about to go off the rails. And as we all know, a train needs rails. This vampire's name is Mricha, and he's really an alien. For 5,000 years, his people have lived in the Transylvania mountains awaiting the return of their king, Vereswalde. There are 2 alien races out in space, the Larusa and the Gagao. One side is religious, and one side is scientific. Both sides achieve space travel and immortality. The Larusa are immortal because of Zoruka, an organism in their bodies. And these vampire people are the Larusa. A galactic war broke out, and the king of the Larusa crash landed on Earth. That is Vereswalde. He tried to share his Zoruka with other people by putting his saliva in their bodies. The only way for these people to replenish their Zoruka is to drink human blood. They must drink blood. That's why they're vampires. They want to get Kiki back because her blood has a bunch of Zoruka in it. It's the only blood potent enough to awaken Vereswalde. So that's their goal, right? To get Kiki? Why didn't he get her at the hotel? Or when he went to the aunt's house? Or whenever he wanted? Because he's crazy strong and unstoppable. They team up and they storm the CIA base with trucks, and there's Gatling guns being fired, and everything's all explosions. Kuki rides a motorcycle straight at the enemies and almost gets shot. Then he gets past them, and then he gets to the plane where Kiki's gonna be planed away. He gets kicked in the head and gets knocked out. When a normal thing like that happens during wild parts of shows, it always makes me laugh. It's just jarring. Like, Kuki is working with space vampires, raiding a CIA base, and dude just drove into gunfire and didn't get hit once. And then he just gets kicked in the head and knocked out. I don't know. It gets to me. Not in a bad way. They don't kill him while he's knocked out. He wakes up and they make him fight this beaver, and he's losing when Kiki busts through the wall. Yo, she's got powers now, and she pushes this chair into this dude's chest so calmly. He is freaking out. She breaks the beaver's arm. Ugh. Then this other bad guy shoots Kuki, and she goes all blue aura mode, and vampire kills the shooter. Then she bites Kuki to save his life using vampire powers. When he wakes up, he tells her that her blood can save the world, and they need to go to Transylvania. She says okay, and they hug, and the movie ends. I give it a, when Mricha was done saying all that vampire lore, Kiki said,
yeah, so go on.
Bro, shut up. You ain't keep up with none of that. Like, you lounge back in that chair like a real vampire didn't just drop aliens also being real on you. Shit. Out of 10. Up next, releasing December 22nd, 1990, A Wind Named Amnesia. This is an hour-and-a-half long movie starring our hero Wataru. Wataru's from a quaint little town where the trucks stop for characters instead of isekaiing them. One day a wind blew and wiped every single person's memories on Earth. No one remembered who they were, any languages, what a mare is, how to pilot a plane. The people became savages, cavemen. They only had base instincts, eating and fighting for food. Parents would just leave their kids behind. Wataru tried to eat a flower. One day, with this savage brain, Wataru ended up at a research base where a strange psychic man is fighting a boy in a wheelchair. And for some reason, Wataru helps him out, and they win the fight, and that boy is Johnny. Johnny was an experiment here, and he has a super brain, so that's why he still has his memories. He hooks up Wataru to a machine that puts good smarts in his brain spot. They live together, and Johnny helps Wataru get back to normal, teaches him guns and life, but Johnny had weak body, and eventually he passes away. Now Wataru is going to travel the world to help all humanity out and see what has become of the world, like Johnny wanted him to do. He heads to San Francisco, 1999. There, an old riot mech is attacking some savages, and he wants to help out, but it's too late. Then he gets into a chase fight with the mech, and this woman tells him to aim for the turret. He does and wins. She can use words good for some reason. Mysterious. Her name's Sophia. He tells her his story, and then they start traveling together. She wants to go to New York, and he's gonna take her, but he's gonna stop to see the world along the way. They help out some savages that are being attacked by other savages. Sophia touches the angry man and calms him down. Mysterious. Sophia learns, just through touching them, that the girl is going to be sacrificed to a god. The god is a giant crane being operated by a person. They hang out with these people for a little bit and end up fighting the giant crane. The girl ends up dying, but Wataru shoots the person operating the crane. Afterwards, the people are free, and he gives this dude a gun and a can opener, and now he's in charge. That's how it takes when you're savages. They continue their journey. The mech he beat at the start, there's an AI in it, and it's using other mechs to chase them down. It runs them off the road, but Sophia uses sparkle magic to save them. Mysterious. Wataru wakes up in a hospital with this old man and a nurse who can use good words. What's going on? This is a super futuristic city. Futuristic for 1991 at least. The computer here was also affected by the amnesia wind and killed a lot of the population. Eventually it got a grip on itself and it helped these two people get their memories back, but also put the memories of all the dead people inside of them. And now these two, they play pretend all day, being doctors or meeting at the park for the first time, being the mayor, living out the memories that the computer puts in their brains. Seems kind of fun, for real. They ask Wataru if he wants to stay, and he says nah. And he asks them if they want to come with him, and they say nah. And then they move on. Sophia drops the truth on him. She's from an alien race that did this to Earth. They erased everyone's memories because they were afraid of humanity and its aggressiveness, and that humanity was starting to go out into space. They tested them. They wanted to see what would happen if they just took everybody's memories away to see if humanity's worth keeping around. They keep traveling together and they get attacked by the mechs again. So the mech attacks them while they're in Washington, D.C. and it chases them all the way to New York. That's a 4-hour drive. That would be nerve-wracking. Then he drops Sophia off and has a final showdown with the mech. It chases him to this rooftop and he sets off a bunch of grenades. Then a bunch of girders crash down into it. And he jumps off the roof, but he passes out. Sophia saves him though, and they do some naked stuff together. Then she's about to go up to her people's spaceship. She's gonna go tell them everything she's learned, and then they will decide if humanity will get their memories back. Then Wataru plays a leaf like an instrument, and it ends. Yo, this one was pretty cool. I give it, if this really happened, how many planes would come crashing down? I looked it up. At any given moment, there's about 10,000 planes in the sky. All those coming down at once would be insane. Out of 10. Up next, released in December 28th, 1990, Sword for Truth. This is a 50-minute movie based on a series of novels starring our hero Sakaki. One day, a big white tiger got loose and is killing so many people, it's wild. Roughly 4 minutes of it killing people all kinds of ways. Then Sakaki shows up and cuts it in half with ease, like it's nothing. The people he saved the next day, they asked for his help. That tiger was just a distraction for the Seki clan to kidnap the princess Mayu, and they want Sakaki's help getting her back. He needs to deliver the Ginyu sword to the Seki clan in exchange for the princess, and he agrees. When he gets to the meeting and gives them the sword, the Seki are gonna kill him anyways. So he kills a bunch of them and gets the princess, and they start running away when this other clan shows up, the Himiko clan. Now, the leader of the Sekis is Dogon the Invincible, and that's not just the title. My man gets messed up, stabbed through the neck, and all kinds of stuff, but he powers through because he got that dog in him. He starts killing the Himiko ninjas in crazy ways. He punches her head off. He breaks this one's back over his fucking head and starts running with her on his shoulders like she's a scarf. While Sakaki and the princess are running away, they have to fight different ninja bosses at different intervals, and it was pretty neat. Like he just kept running like, oh, you go so far, different boss, go so far, different. That was probably cooler in novel form because it was probably less rushed, because he beats all of them up in like one cut. Cut to this guy here getting killed by this man with beautiful eyes. Back to Sakaki, he brings the princess home, and they're gonna kill him for some reason because he saw her or something, but they decide not to. Cut to this sweaty old man saying some cryptic stuff while literally covered in bitches. Sakaki's walking home and he walks by the pretty assassin from earlier, and they can both smell blood on each other, and then it ends. I give it, there were 2 sex scenes in this that lasted about 4 minutes, and that's when everyone in my house decided to come see what I was doing, and you can't, it's not that, I promise, no look, oh, okay, they just think I'm weird now. Out of 10. Up next, please subscribe. Really up next, releasing January 5th, 1991, The Mischievous Twins. This is 26 episodes based on the St. Clair children's novels by Enid Blyton. I know we're all very familiar with those. This one stars our twin sisters, Isabel and Patricia, Patricia. They're great athletes and perfect students at their current school, but it's time for them to go to secondary school. Everyone at their school thinks that they're really cool. Oh man, they're just, yeah. But out here at St. Clair's, they're just freshmen. St. Clair's also isn't, it's not that really high class of a school. They're kind of too good to, way too good to go to that low class school. We are proper ladies, and that is a place for vagabonds and layabouts. When they get there, they huff and puff all over the place. Oh, we gotta clean ourselves. We used to have maids at our last school. The other girls don't like how snooty the twins are, and it's causing problems. They're gonna show everyone at the school how great they are. Then they'll see how superior we are, how everyone else is just lesser, and how we have more money. Well, they quickly learn that they might have been the best at everything at their last school, but there's some stuff here where they're not the best at. It's a big pond. There's not enough fish. They are really good at lacrosse though, and they make the team. One of the episodes, their grades aren't great, so they get told they can't go to the movies, and then they sneak out to go see a movie in these outfits they know is you. The disguise, everybody was just like, hey, bye Isabel, bye Patricia. It's like, who? And then you're not fooling the people at the theater. They're not looking out for you. What was the disguise about? Slowly but surely they come around, and they start to like it here at St. Clair School for Girls. A bunch of going to school stuff happens. They think they cheated on a test, but not really. They do a play, they do some tarot readings, and things go wrong, and they accidentally summon a demon that rips off their clothes. Nah, I'm lying. This is just a normal show. This is just a normal show. I know the last few were bonkers town. Ooh, but these girls, they just go to school. The train is on rails here. Look at this ad for a pen in the background on these episodes. Like, what? Are you tired of using a pencil? Want to write in something a bit more permanent? Tired of using the blood drawn from your finger? Well, try ink today. By the end of the show, the school nominates the twins to represent St. Clair's School for Girls during a national speech. And the topic is dreams, like gold dreams, not sleep dreams. And they bicker at first, but by the end, they come together to deliver a friggin' awesome speech. I'm talking like, yo, they spoke with so much emphasis. They went from hating St. Clair's School for Girls, and now they think of it as their second home. And that's it. I support this little shimmy from the opening song. Out of 10. Up next, releasing January 12th, 1991, Goldfish Warning. That is a funny title to me. It's also 54 episodes. This is Chutose. She was rich, but her papa died, and now she's poor. And all she's got left is this goldfish that's really pink. More of a pink fish, so she has to go to poor people's school. 2 shows in a row with poor people's school. That's all I'm saying. Rich people to poor people's school. I'm just saying. Just the sight of poor people makes her lightheaded. Oh my god, this poverty, ugh. This is Wapiko. She's a happy-go-lucky little anime girl. Well, this guy here, he tries to steal Chutose's goldfish because it's worth a lot of money. And Wapiko stops him. And it turns out that he had a key on him for a safety deposit box that Chutose's father left behind. And inside were letters and other things that was worth billions of yens. She's rich again. And she's gonna use that money to help out the school. Each episode is broken up into 2 10-minute stories. And a typical episode is Chutose trying to spruce up the school and finding all these peasants, they just get in her way, and these poor people activities are just bizarre. And she also tries to get back at the rich people school that kicked her out. She kind of learns lessons along the way, but not really. All the while, Wapiko is just a happy-go-lucky kid. Wapiko is an absolute inspiration. She is undefeated in life and enjoys every moment. Look at her with a fish on her head, man. A fish needs water. It's a decent little kid's show. I give it these fish right here, they remind me of that old fishing board game. I don't remember the name of the game. I never got to play it. Or Elephant the Elephant. Out of 10. Up next, releasing January 13th, 1991, The Trapp Family Story. Yo, that means something else these days, you know what I'm saying? If it came out like now, then with that title, yo, it's not that though. It's based on the 1949 book, The Story of the Trapp Family Singers by Maria von Trapp. The same story was adapted into the Broadway play The Sound of Music. Y'all remember that commercial for The Sound of Music?
The hills are alive with the sound of music.
The Sound of Music, the timeless family classic, is back, now available on video.
Anyways, this is about our hero Maria, and she really wants to be a nun. So she hits up a nunnery and she starts nunning it up. Her first day, she repels out of her room to go get the laundry before it gets wet because it is about to rain. And she tied her bed sheet to the bottom of her bed. And on her way back up, her bed breaks. And then the sheets get wet anyways. Oh man, you can't have nuns getting wet. We learn that Maria's parents are dead and she went to college on a scholarship. Well, pretty quickly, we see that Maria's a bit too rowdy to be a nun. She gets in trouble for whistling and just having fun. Sisters are not allowed to talk before noon. That's a real thing she gets in trouble for. She clearly doesn't fit in here. She gets told that, but she doesn't have anywhere else to go. Thankfully, the nuns say that God says she can stay. Cool, the Lord is tight. And she starts doing better, and they start liking her around there too. She might even get to take the nun test soon. What? Well, a man named George Von Trapp has asked the church to send over somebody to help raise his 7 kids because his wife's dead. So they asked Maria to go for 9 months and then she could come back to the church. She's hesitant, but she accepts with tears in her eyes. When she gets to the Von Trapps, it's a full mansion with servants and everything. And boy, does she have her work cut out for her. These kids do not want to be raised, but George is a perfectly honorable gentleman. I'd let that mustache tickle me anywhere. Yo, he's strict though. Papa blows a whistle. All the kids show up. Everything in this house is pretty strict. Over time, just being herself, Maria, she starts to lighten up the mood of the house. Everyone starts laughing more. She shows them how to play music. One time, one of the kids, he falls and sits down in cow poopy. And now it looks like he doodled his pants big time. There's this evil rich lady that wants to marry George. And she almost gets away with it too, but those kids and Maria foil her plot. Yo, you could tell she evil because of the way she eats an orange with a knife. What is that? I just bite into it like an apple. Yo, this little girl running with scissors, y'all, it is so ingrained in my head to not run with scissors that this made me real life nervous watching this. They have one of them weird Krampus Christmas things. Yo, it made me uncomfortable. Eventually, Maria, she starts to fall in love with George, and he likes her too. But she gets conflicted because she's a nun and she runs away. She can't love a man. She also can't live without the Trapp family. So she gives up being a nun to be with George and they get married. What she loves, oh my God. And what's that? That's not the end of the show? We have 8 more episodes, like the last few seasons of The Nanny. They enter a singing competition and do really well, and you see a certain Hitler has come into power, and this takes place in Germany. And the Von Trapps don't like Hitler stuff, and they know that they will get hard killed if they don't follow him. So they decide to flee Germany. They run to America where they get a music deal to tour the US, and that's it. A classic reborn in anime form. I give it this got me thinking. What does a coven of nuns do? Do they just praise the Lord in church all day? Well, I have those answers for you. It's all pretty normal stuff. According to ChristianFaithGuide.com, which is where I get all my God facts, they get up early, pray for a bit, eat breakfast, meditate, pray some more. Then they work, which can be working at schools, hospitals, homeless shelters. Then they eat lunch, have tea, pray some more, and then they eat some more. They also get some free time to do whatever God likes. They also offer a lot of spiritual guidance whenever somebody needs it. Out of 10. Up next, releasing January 21st, 1991, Shounen Ashibe. This has little 9-minute episodes, and I couldn't find the 1991 version of this show, but there's a newer version of it out, and I'll explain it right quick because I'm sure it's the same. Ashibe is a first grader who just moved to a new town. He's outside chilling one day when this like fish comes in. What's this? What's this on the road? They go outside to cook it, and it turns out it's a baby seal. So they decide not to cook it, and he's gonna keep it as a pet, and he names it Goma. This show's pretty funny. A bully tries to bully him, so he hugs him, and the bully can't handle it. He's like, oh, I'm just gonna hug you with brotherly love. And then the bully starts blushing. This kid, he's pretty weird. There's this other kid who doesn't want to pet the seal, but the weird kid grabs his hand and is like forcing him to do it. The ending song is I'm Gonna Goma, because the seal's name is Goma, but it's not what it sounds like. I'm gonna Goma. I give it, Sugao here has a comfort eggplant out of 10. Up next, releasing January 24th, 1991, Phantom Yusha Densetsu. This is a 50-minute movie. We open in Los Angeles, summer. Izawa gets a call from his old friend Matsuki, who wants to meet up for a chit chat, and it turns out the Phantom has showed back up. And you see, we don't learn some of this till later, I'm just gonna tell you right now. Izawa was a pilot, and one day he was out doing drills in a Phantom jet, but during a training accident, he and his partner had to crash land the Phantom in the ocean. Turns out his partner did it on purpose to sell the Phantom to an arms dealer. He doesn't learn that till the end of the movie. The training accident put him in a coma for 6 months and he retired. Matsuki gives him a lead on the Phantom. And then he meets with this reporter who got a photo of the Phantom, but they get chased by the military and cut to Mr. Vincent here, who has some of that sugar, some of that stuff on that. What's he doing with that? He wants to stop Izawa from snooping around. So they chase him into this swamp and he manages to escape, and then he heads to Japan and meets up with Sachiko, his lover. Then he talks to Matsuki again, and the reporter from earlier, he got caught and killed. Look at this twirly McDonald's sign. That's just regular McDonald's. That's not even fake. That's just McDonald's. Mr. Vincent is still on Yazawa's tail. Okay, so the reason Mr. Vincent is after Yazawa is he has information that the US government is using the Phantom jet when they shouldn't be, or something like that. And if it gets out, the president might not win the re-election. And they end up catching Yazawa and Sachiko. Then, Mr. Vincent kills Sachiko in front of Yazawa and leaves him to die. Yazawa lives though. He breaks free, kills the 2 dudes, and sets out to get his revenge. And his homies come up and show him the Phantom, and they explain the whole thing to him. And they're like, hey man, we're sorry, but let's use this to get revenge. And yeah, we're gonna do that. Matsuki sets a trap for Mr. Vincent and lures him to this building, and then they shoot at it with the Phantom. Wah! And he gets his revenge. Then Matsuki parachutes out of there. We cut to this woman sunbathing naked, and our guy's flying off into the sun. It ends. I give it, yo. Mr. Vincent explodes Sachiko's shirt with one hand. That's crazy. It should have ripped, not exploded. Clothes be exploding. Out of 10. Up next. Releasing sometime between 1991 and like 1993. Can't find a real answer. Chuumon no ryouriten. This one's only 20 minutes long, but it's pretty neat. There's zero talking throughout the entire show, and it's just music and sound effects. There's these 2 hunters, and they're walking around the woods until it gets dark out, and they find this restaurant, the Wild Cat. What's this restaurant doing in the middle of the woods? There's a sign that says, please come on in. When they get inside, there's no one there. So they start playing this little shooty game, and then they start looking around. They catch glimpses of a person who might be putting the signs up, because these signs keep popping up telling them, hey, don't go over here. Hey, don't bring any guns over here. But they never really see anyone. One of them tells them to clean up. Yeah, get your bodies nice and clean. Then they end up around some wacky stairs and mirrors. What's going on? They see a spider and get spooked, and they shoot. Then a bunch of these butterflies come out, and then one of them gets on this cart, and then it almost drops into some spikes. And they end up in a room where they can bathe, and they get a paper telling them to season themselves. And they end up in this underground room with a chef and a table set for 3. After they sit, these 3 women come out and dance. Then they surround them and turn into cats and jump on them and start eating them. But then our hunters wake up outside in the forest. Then a truck drives by and they beg the driver to take them away. Oh my God. And that's where it ends. This was really neat. I give it, this art is just so pleasing to my eyes. I don't know. Is it just me? I love it. The little scratchy lines out. It was super cool. Out of 10. Up next, releasing February 1st, 1991, bousou sengokushi. This is one 45-minute episode starring our main character, Shimada. Shimada's a big tough man. He drives a red car. I'm not good with cars. I don't know what kind it is. He's the head of a gang of tough guys who like driving around, but he's a bit bored with how things are. So he decides that they should unite every gang in the Kanto region and form a mega gang and call it Spectre. So they drive up to every gang spot and challenge their leaders to one-on-one fights. And when they win, the gangs give up and join Spectre. And this is Katsuno. He's riding with his gang, and this girl Mari. Shimada challenges him, and when he beats him up, Katsuno joins Spectre. And then Shimada looks at Mari and asks, you want to ride with me? Get in the car. And she gets in there. And this all seems wild, but not too crazy, right? I have left an important detail out. They're all in high school. These are all just a bunch of, how do these many high schoolers have cars, and why is nobody stopping them from doing anything? Mari got in the car, and then what? After they drive off, all dramatic, it should be, haha, yeah, well, that was cool, but can you take me home now? I'm 15. It's all insane. They get all the gangs together and they decide to hold a rally race. Just hundreds of high schoolers rally racing in the streets. After the race, the police arrest Shimada for starting all of this. So the groups he took over decide, we don't gotta listen to them no more, so they form their own group and they retaliate against Spectre. Well, Spectre manages to get over 1,000 cars to drive a bunch. So the bad guys, they're gonna drive too, and then they meet on this bridge and have a big old brawl. And it ends with Shimada looking serious in prison. This was fine. I give it, cars get exploded. That would be devastating for an adult with money. For a high schooler, how are they gonna get another car? Out of 10. Up next, released in February 2nd, 1991, Brave of the Sun Fighbird. This is 48 episodes and is part of the Brave series. The first one I covered in the last video was the Brave Fighter X Kaiser. They take place in different timelines, but all of the Brave shows fall under the same Brave umbrella. Brave. Opening song here is a jam too. Similar to the other Brave shows, evil mech alien named Dryos shows up on Earth and teams up with the evil Dr. Django to be evil. They want to conquer Earth and then the universe. Well, the cosmic police show up here too to stop them. And their souls take over a few things, some of them vehicles, but one of them ends up in this humanoid robot made by Dr. Amano. And when he gets into the robot, he goes over to this skin machine to get, oh yeah, I need skin, skin. Now he goes by Yutaro in human form, but he's really Fighbird, and he fights against the evil Dryos as big robot mechs. Along with the dog's grandkids, Haruka and Kenta, there's also Miss Yoshiko and Inspector Satsura. All a big old happy team. The typical episode is our heroes living their lives, then having to go out and fight whatever weird plot the bad guys have cooked up. Like the bad guys, they really stick to a theme too. Like, oh, we're attacking by sea? Then let's make a big old lobster robot. Also, this is where the "is this a pigeon" meme comes from. Yo, I didn't know that. The last Brave show had a wild Christmas episode, and this one, it was alright. The bad guys make a giant reindeer blimp. It looks kind of silly, and then it spreads out this virus, and the bad guys gotta beat it up. And then when they blow up the blimp, it turns into a reindeer robot mech, and it's got the vaccine, and they're like, oh, give up, Fighbird, or we're not gonna give you this vaccine. But then Grandpa comes in and shoots his torpedo goo all over the vaccine, and that makes it real hard to break. He's got good goo, and then they get the vaccine to save the day. Oh, the bad guys, they tried to take over America one time, and it lasted a couple episodes. They save America, right? And look, right here, they put black people in the crowd. It's always nice to see that the anime knows black people exist. At the end of the show, Dr. Amano and Miss Yoshiko, they're out shopping in a market. Miss Yoshiko has a bag full of eggs, like brimming. What? I've never seen that in my life. They come in cartons. This is just an entire, she drops it and some of them hit the floor and they don't break. I was like, what was that? A bag full of, there's just so many eggs. Eggs in a bag would be chaos. Dryos kidnaps them and this girl, she's less important, and they're gonna use them as bait to draw out Fighbird. And Django explains some stuff. As we all know, every 6 months, these two stars, along with our sun, triangulate, and if they time the creation of their dark tower with the triangulation of those 3 stars, they will create enough dark energy to create the dark universe. Fighbird and the cosmic police storm Django's evil base, and Dryos meets them. And they start mech battling. The bad guy's got an octopus mech. Fighbird gets inside and reaches the dock, but of course it's a trap, and the normal humans, They got ray guns and they're shooting at the bad guys and the ray guns aren't working. So Satsura pulls out a gun, a real gun, and he shoots the controls and Fighbird gets free. He fights the goons and he frees the dock. Then they escape in pods with the tower. He gets out of the ocean and damages all his mech homies. Now if the tower is completed during the triangulation, then Dryos will become a god. They start repairing all the injured mechs while the bad guys send out these evil mechs to enslave humanity to make them complete the tower. And they grab some of the characters from earlier episodes. That's always fun. Like, it's always neat to know that these characters still exist. Meanwhile, Yoshiko figures out a frequency that shoots positive energy and hurts the bad guys, and it can combat the dark energy. Fighbird has to wait for Dr. Amano to complete a special weapon that can shoot that positive energy. But Fighbird sees all the slaves being made to work on the tower, and he says, forget this, and he goes over to try to fight them. And when he's there, he's about to lose, but then his friends, all their repairs got done, so they're there to help out in the fight. And they got some of that positive energy gun, but it's not. Dryos just blows it up. And yo, Dryos is crazy. The good guys are gonna free the slaves and transport them by plane. And he says, oh, I'll just kill all those slaves. And he starts blowing up the planes. It's a kid's show, so I'm sure no one really died. But still, that's a cool villain move. The good guys gotta retreat and they can only save so many people. So a bunch of them get left behind, including Satsa. Yo, my man look like he being tortured a different way. The tower gets complete and the triangulation triangulates. Dryos starts absorbing that dark energy. The Fighbird is waiting for the dock to finish up a new super weapon. And all the heroes except Fighbird go to Dryos. And he ends up sucking up all their powers. Fighbird can't wait on the weapon any longer. He goes out to fight Dryos. He's having some trouble with the cronies, but the dock shows up with his new special beam that shoots the positive energy. And they beat them. And then it's time for the final fight. Fighbird versus Dryos. Good versus evil. Dryos impales him in the fight, and he's shooting fire at him. But his homies, they got free from their captivity. And they grab the positive beam and shoot it right at Dryos. It hurts him, but he just gets mad. And he shoots a beam that cuts them apart. And they explode. Fighbird loses it. And he rushes at Dryos, who is shooting beams at him, but he keeps flying straight forward. Then, with the power of love and friendship, Fighbird flies straight through Dryos and he explodes. The day is saved, but our heroes are all dead. Not really. They were just aliens controlling the robots, remember? So their souls are fine. With Dryos defeated, they no longer have a reason to stay on Earth. So they go back out into space. A few months later, the human crew starts using Grandpa's inventions to just help people out, like firefighter stuff. And then, Fighbird shows back up. What? Woo, he's there to live with everybody. A happy ending. I give it. Yo, I looked up the My Anime List description for this show. It's kind of English. Let me read it. An evil alien life form, Dryos, assaulted the Earth. The leader of Space Patrol, Fighbird, pursed Dryos to the Earth. Fighbird combined with an android that Dr. Amano was developing. Fighbird named Hidori Ryutaro. Fighbird named Hidori Ryutaro and fight against Dryos to protect the peace of the Earth. At first look, he was a normal person, but because he was an alien, Fighbird, his acts were a bit away from the normal person. Usually, he worked for Dr. Amano as an assistant. He looked uncouth, always wearing a wild coat and glasses. However, once enemy appears, his personality changed dramatically. Out of 10. Up next, releasing February 6, 1991, Shakotan Boogie. That's fun to say. It has 4 50-minute episodes. This one stars our two high schoolers, Koji and Hajime. They're two knuckleheads who are always trying to pick up girls. Koji has a moped, but Hajime just got a car. And look at this thing. How these high schoolers getting cars in Japan? It's so low, a pack of cigarettes won't fit under it. They use the car and hit the nightlife to try to pick up girls, and that is pretty much the whole show. So I'll just throw some parts at your way. There's this school, and when they have their school festival that's open to the public, hundreds of high school boys drive up and park outside, showing off their cool cars, trying to impress all the girls and pick them up. It's crazy. Hajime shows up in his car with dots. He got dots painted on it and is wearing a matching shirt. Yo, that is so dorky. I mean, I would drive that car, but I like stupid things. That car would get him negative bitches. When the school lets them in, it's a stampede of dudes just hitting on girls. This here is Koma. He's supposed to be real good with the ladies. How does he do it? He gets up real close and weird and then goes, "Will you make love to me?" and chases them around. And they hang out with him for a while, trying to figure out how he gets so many girls. And then he keeps doing that. And then they keep going, okay, maybe last time he messed up. This next girl, he's gonna show us how it's done. Nah. Then he chases a girl and they're in this bowling alley. And while he's chasing her, the power gets cut off. So he rips his pants off because no one can see him, right? That's Yeah, duh, you gotta whip it out if nobody can see. When the lights come back on, the girl's being protected by these dudes, and he throws a bowling ball at them and says, "Strike." Yo, I don't know, it got me. Kumo hits on another driver's girl, and now they got a race. And he tells the guys, hey, go grab a bunch of rocks. And then they throw them at the other guy while they're racing. Then he wins, and he goes, a win's a win. It doesn't matter if you win throwing rocks at the other guy or not. You gonna tell everybody, you gonna act like a punk and act like there's a reason you lost. So he acts like he ain't just cheat, man. This show is alright. It was funny sometimes when it wasn't real harassing and stuff. I give it, yet again, bro totals his car all the time and is back to driving it soon. 2 shows. Now, what's going on? Where'd they get the money? Out of 10. Up next, releasing February 20th, 1991, Wizardry. This is a 50-minute soiree based on a game of the same name that released in 1981, starring our heroes, who, if you look at the classes in the game, they would be Alex, the Lord class, which is a combo of a fighter and a priest, Hawkwind, the ninja, which is like a ninja, and Shin, the samurai, which is like a good sword fighter. They're adventurers, and it opens up with them in a dungeon killing monsters and getting that treasure, that booty. This dungeon has 10 floors, and the deeper you go, the better the loot. That's pretty common in shows these days. For like a show 30 years ago, though, that's pretty neat. There's an evil mage named Werdna who's down on the 10th floor of the dungeon, and no one has ever come back from down there. And it's not worth the trouble, you know? Werdna stole an amulet that belonged to the king, then hid himself away in this magic dungeon. I think he made the dungeon too. Our heroes decide to go check out the dungeon for some more treasure, but they don't want anything to do with Werdna. They run into some zombies, and during the fight, they meet Joza, the priest, and Albert, the mage. Joza's a famous veteran. He tells him that Werdna's trying to break the seal on that amulet to bring about the end of the world. Our guys don't want nothing to do with that, but they join up. You know, you got more people together, there's a phrase for this, and they head down to the 8th floor. Albert is walking and he steps into this dead dude's mouth, and I was like, whoa, I've never seen that exactly. Like, I've seen a lot of things, and I've seen people step on dead bodies in media, but never right in someone's mouth. You know, it was creepy. There's a bunch of dead people here though, dead in messed up ways. Then they saved this woman from these big blue demon things, and I went to go look up the names of these, and I believe they're greater demons. Here's their attacks. Yo, Hawkwind, he one-shots one of the demons, and the other fool's gotta team up to go get one down. Hawkwind is tops. Then they have to fight Flack, this Sanji the Clown looking fool who jumps around all crazy, and he turns Hawkwind's arm into stone. They kill him, and the woman that they saved, her name is Sheila, and she's here to find her love Randy, who came here for the Muramasa, a blade that will give you great power but drive you crazy if you aren't good enough to wield it. All the while, Hawkwind's over there like, yo, help, I know her story, but help. Joseph fixes his arm up, but using his magic is taking its toll. The group decides to go down to the 10th floor. They're greeted by a Werdna illusion that lets them know that they're gonna die. You fools will be dead soon. They move deeper into the 10th floor, killing vampires and solving puzzles. Then they run into Randy, and his mind has been corrupted by the Muramasa. Sheila's trying to get through to him though, and she ends up about to die. Shin has to save her, and he loses an arm. Randy's body can take a lot of damage too, and the Muramasa is crazy strong. It's looking grim, and Shin's about to die. Sheila uses a spell, and it blows Randy up. I mean, yo, Randy feels it. Joseph fixes Shin's arm. My man got good arm fixing magic. Sheila sings a little song that was meant for Randy, you know, if he hadn't just blown up. And Shin gets the Muramasa, and they arrive at Werdna. But Werdna has broken the seal on the amulet, and they only have a small amount of time before he absorbs all the power. They fight him and kill his weird vampire friend. And during the fight, Albert takes too much damage, and he dies. Jose uses his magic to res him, but then he gets hit with a fire spell. Oh, and now the amulet's power is free. And Shin, holding a dying Joza, asks him what they should do. You must... I'm dying. You must kill Werdna. Then Joza passes away. Yeah, duh. I think he wanted real advice, not the thing we were already trying to do. They mourn Joza for a moment, then they get it together for a final attack. Sheila casts a spell that puts a protection on everybody from all damage. And then Shin masters the Muramasa and unlocks its true power, glowing blue. Now stay with me. Shin defeats Werdna very easily by walking up to him slowly and cutting him. With Werdna dead, the dungeon begins to crumble and our heroes get out alive off screen. Then they bury their dead. It ends. Yo, this was kind of cool. I love a good video game anime. I give it, they stayed I was looking things up. This stayed really accurate to the game. All the spell names and characters and all that. Yeah, that's always fun to see. Out of 10. Up next, released in February 22nd, 1991, Psychic Wars. This is a 50-minute movie starring our hero, Dr. Ukyo. He's a top surgeon who removes this weird thing from this woman during surgery one day. She asks him to go to this shrine where there's this idol. While he's there, the shrine collapses on him. He wakes up in the morning all glowy, and the idol disappears. And the woman died the moment the idol broke. She left behind a notebook. For 5,000 years, demons have been kept at bay, and she was helping out with that. Now she's dead, and now her powers have passed on to him. That thing he removed earlier comes to life, and he runs to where it is and punches it. Ugh. And he's just got some kind of power now. He's just good. He's strong. He's strong good. Now he's the chosen one who needs to fight demons. He's also got a thing going on here with Asahina, another doctor at his hospital. He goes to bury the old woman's bones with Asahina. And this demon shows up. And they have a big fight where Ukyo summons weapons and hurts it, but he passes out. And the demon's still alive. And it's gonna get him. But when it looks at Asahina, it gets scared. And when it touches her, it dies? What's going on? Mysterious. What's going on here? They meet with an old friend of his who's an expert on ancient times. And he tells them where to look for an ancient city, and they go camping there to figure out demon stuff. And Asahina gets captured by a demon, and when Ukyo tries to find her in this cave, it's the ancient city. He found it. Then these magic priestesses in there transport him to the past where he starts fighting demons. Yo, he flexes so hard his sleeves come off. One scene he's like killing demons with this gun, and the next shot he's riding a horse chasing them. I don't know, it got me. He hangs out with the ancient people here and learns demon killing, destiny stuff from the magic priestesses again. He knows that his destiny is to go to the past to fight demons. In the future? Yo, that horse big as hell. He falls for a naked demon trap and punches this demon in its soft spot, and it sprays water. Then he rips its heart out. He goes to the demon city, storms the gate, sets off explosions, and destroys the demon city. But some of the demons, they're trying to go to the future, and they get through the portal, and he gets back in there. Oh, now he has to fight them back in his time. And then it's just him and the last demon, and he hits it with a truck and finishes it off. Then he sleeps with Asahina. And I really thought that at this point, that's the end of the movie, right? But there's still 14 minutes left. The magic priestesses say, yo, it ain't over. He still gotta kill the queen of darkness. So Ukyo and Asahina, they go to this temple, and it turns out that Asahina is the queen of darkness. She stayed alive the last 5,000 years trying to bring back the demon race, but she's fallen in love with Ukyo. She doesn't want to fight him, but they do. And eventually, Ukyo kills her with some help from the magic priestesses. She naked dies in his arms. She really did love him. She wanted them both to die together. The nuns take her body away, and Ukyo looks to the sky as we fade to black. I give it, and my man be whooping on demons in business casual. Out of 10. Up next, releasing February 22nd, 1991, Samurider Nazo no Tenkose. This is a 45-minute movie that I couldn't find subs, so I'll tell you what I can find out just by looking at the screen. Masao here is out riding his moped with this girl when this jerk runs him off the road. What? Then he's riding again that night when these two bikers have a duel on the same road. One of them is dressed as a barbarian, and the other one is the Shredder, Orokusaki. And as we all know, Shredder hates the Ninja Turtles. Shredder defeats the barbarian, but he gets a cut under his eye and he vanishes. The next day, Masao and his friends are messing around with motorbikes at this abandoned building, and the Shredder shows up. Masao tries to keep up with them on his bike, but the Shredder cuts his gas line. What a jerk. Then at school, they get a new student, Sawamura, and he has the same scar as the Shredder. Masao goes up and punches him, then gets in trouble and suspended. He's hanging out at the abandoned building again when the cops show up, and they think that Masao and his friends stole a bunch of motorbikes because they're in that building. Then Shredder shows up and sets the building on fire, and the cops chase after him. These goons show up. Look at this guy with his shirt. It's got like a mouth. I think the tongue really comes out. They're the ones who really stole their motorbikes and hid them here, and they chase our guys because they think our guys lit them all on fire. But then our guys get away. Then he goes to school and punches the new kid again. The Shredder's out causing problems at night. There's a corner store called Suncuss. Suncuss these nuts. Everyone's chasing the Shredder, but no one can catch him. Look at this ice cream spot called Mr. Ice 13. Masao's bike ends up in a river, and he's got to get it repaired. They fix it pretty quick, and now he's dressing up as a samurai too. I don't know why, but the fools who have been chasing around the Shredder think that he's the Shredder now, and they chase him and total his bike again. The real Shredder sees this and laughs. Then Shredder stops this gang of bikers from harassing these people. See, he's not evil, he's just misunderstood. Masao has to get his bike fixed again. At school, the bike gang shows up and they want revenge against the Shredder, who shows up and knocks all their bikes over and then start chasing them. Masao checks on his bike and it's fixed, and they made it look, green, like a Power Ranger bike. It's not cool. He takes it out for a spin and gets chased by the bike gang. And they catch him and beat him up until his mechanic shows up and chases them off. Then at the end it shows Shredder cutting some guy down. Ugh. And it ends. I give it, this kid's shirt, it just says Bees, like B''Z. I looked it up and it's a band. It's one of the most popular bands in Japan ever. That's very neat. Out of 10. Up next, releasing March 8th, 1991, Kumo ni Noru. This is another one I couldn't find subbed, so I'll do the same thing. And I can't. It's so, he got magic there. When the main character was a kid, he saved a little girl and was brought here by a god, and now he lives in Godland. And he talks to a mountain and rides a big bird. Then he a woman. He's gonna be cooked, but his friends show up and do a fusion ha into a bigger god to help him out, and then he fucks this goddess. Then he goes to this dungeon that seems like a line to hell or something, gets caught and put before a court, and King Yema is sentenced to torture, I think. Almost gives up, but this woman fucks him so he grows big. Then he gets his ass beat and turns small again. Then he gets tortured for a bit. Then he starts a revolt, and he escapes the torture place, rides this bird to here, and talks to demons before leaving. And then they show his parents from the past who watch him for a little bit, and then they learn some lore, and I don't know the language. Then he drinks too much water in this lake, but then in this lake there's this mummy that he fucks until she becomes a living woman. He ends up at this place with all big women, and he picks the right one and wins. Then he heads to the demons from earlier, and he brings some women with him, and they make all the demons cry, and they turn back into real boys. And a war starts, and he turns big again and beats up some dudes, then beats their leader and walks to this castle and fucks more women. Then he fucks their leader. Then he goes to this mountaintop where this bird cries, accidentally kills someone, and all hell starts breaking loose here and on Earth. And then he beats this god and then gets talked to by another god, and then goes to space and gets born on Earth. Man, and that's about it. I give it, if this was translated, I don't know if I would have understood it. Out of 10. Up next, releasing March 9th, 1991, Magical Taru-kun, the movie. I covered this show in the last vid, and here's a movie for it. That's neat. How neat is that? It's 50 minutes. One day, a bunch of balls came out of the sky and possessed this little robot toy. And something came down and went inside this flower here. And that flower, it pricks Hanmaru's mom's finger. Well, Taru's running around one day, and his teacher from Magic World shows up and tells him that he's got to go back to Magic World. But he doesn't want to. He loves it here. So he runs away from her. Well, the teacher has a Woody the Woodpecker, and it follows Taru around and messes with his magic to make him want to leave. Like he's trying to help Hanmaru out, but the Woodpecker messes it up to try to make his friends mad at Taru so he won't want to be here anymore. Man, but it doesn't work. Meanwhile, Hanmaru's mom gets real sick because of the flower that hurt her. Taru's sister says that the only way they can help her is by getting the fruit of life, which can cure any illness, but she doesn't know where it is. It only shows up every million years or something. I think it just, when it shows up in a random spot. It can take a million years to find it. Taru's teacher shows up and says she'll help him get the fruit of life, but he can never return to the human world. Woody finds this little robot from earlier and does a ritual to make it grow big, and it starts destroying the city. I mean, complete destruction immediately. Everything just looks post-apocalyptic, and then they all go try to stop it. Even Taru's teacher can't do nothing about it. Taru flies up and starts making funny faces and licks it a bit, but that doesn't even work. Who would have thought? Haruko shows up with an entire army, skyship and tanks, and they start blasting that thing, but they still can't beat it. Taru and Hanmaru are about to get hit by a missile, but Hanmaru's dad catches it, which is very cool. This whole time, Haru's dad has been doing research, and he has the fruit of life, and they can either use it to destroy the monster or save his mother. Well, one time, when Hanmaru was an even littler kid, his mama told him that he should put the needs of the many before his own needs. My parents never told me anything quotable about like that. Like all these anime protagonists get these crazy quotes. So Hanmaru and Taru, they get to the robot. And with the help of everyone attacking the monster, and Iona singing this weird note, hit the robot with the fruit of life and destroy it, but at the cost of his mommy. Since another fruit of life, it will show up, but at a completely random spot, and they may never be able to find it, and they're crying on the walk home. When Taru spots the next fruit of life, it spawned in right there. What? Yay, his mommy won't die. It ends. Another alright time in the show. I give it, they do this little funny bye-bye at the end. Out of 10. Up Next, releasing March 9th, 1991, Who's Left Behind? We have here a 90-minute movie, and this is Kayoko. She's a little girl who lives with her mom, dad, grandma, and 3 brothers. They got a nice, happy little family here. Sometimes Kayoko can be a bit of a crybaby. One night, she wakes up to go to the bathroom, and she's scared to go because it's all dark. I feel ya. Sometimes that still gets me. I mean, I know that army of ninjas is just waiting for the night I don't check behind the curtain. On her way to the bathroom, all these ghosts come out. What? Whoa. Then this room she's in starts to flood. When she wakes up, it was just a dream. Yo, I thought it was about to go all Studio Ghibli on us. She starts taking shamisen lessons, but she's no good. And the other girls snicker at her. They chuckle and sneer. She gets bullied by some boys, but her brother defends her. She shares her little weird candy on a stick. Yo, y'all, what is this? Y'all, what? Huh? She stops going to music lessons and gets in trouble. But then her mom shows her the harmonica, and she loves it. She gets a baby brother. She loves him, and she helps watch after him. Then their town starts to prepare for the war. Oh, did I forget to mention that this takes place during World War II? Yeah, really changes the outlook of things, huh? Goes from happy little girl movie to when's it gonna happen? Yo, this is why I don't read summaries until I'm done with the show, because I be getting caught off guard, and it's fun. With the war getting close, they send Kayoko to live with her aunt, because she'll be safer there. So she lives there, and she starts helping out with farming and stuff, and the war is getting worse and worse. One time, she almost gets air raided. Yo, that calendar goes the other way. Is it still do? I never knew that. After some time passes, one of her brothers shows up alone. Their whole family died in a fire. Then her brother goes back alone. Bro's like 10. Yo, what's he gonna do? 3 months later, her and her aunt move back to her old town. And it's a sad scene. Yo, she's walking around and nothing's the same. It's all destroyed. She thinks she sees her mom and her dad for a second, but it's not them. It's just a happy family who's alive. She goes over to their burned down house, then sees the ghost of her dead family. And it's kind of sad. They tell her that she needs to live on and be happy for all of them. Then they all float up to heaven because God is real. Kayoko walks back home with a new resolve. Who's left behind? It's her. It's because her family's dead. It's her. Yo, this movie was sad. I give it, hey look, they be playing old Beyblades like at the start, and old school Pogs, which I guess Pogs are just old school these days. And so are Beyblades. And look, Hoopstick. I never played Hoopstick. Out of 10. Up next, releasing March 15th, 1991, Future GPX Cyber Formula. In the year 2015, Cyber Formula Racing has taken over F1 racing. And our hero Hayato's father has built the newest experimental Cyber Formula car, the Asurada. And Hayato's transporting it with the coach. But Hayato, he likes riding motorcycles. He's not a race car driver. Well, they get attacked. And the bad guys want this new tech. And the coach is too injured to drive, so it's up to Hayato to keep it from their grubby mitts. The car's got all kind of buttons and stuff, but there's an AI in there that helps Hayato out, while also letting him know, yo, you a bad driver. They use all the car's features, like all this smoke stuff, and then it turning crazy to going through a chasm like this, and they escape the chaser's grubby mitts. He gets the car to the team, but now he has to be the driver since the AI has scanned in his voice and his retina. It won't drive for anyone else. Now the team feels like they gotta give up since Hayato's not a driver, but he decides to give it a shot, and he starts racing. Thus begins our little hero's journey to being the best future Cyber Formula GPX around. A lot of ups and downs during his career as Hayato becomes a better driver by learning from his competitors and his team. In episode 16, he raced so good that this little girl can walk again, and then his father passes away. Those don't correlate. Those are just two things that happen. They have a dog named V8. I do a little research on every show, and it turns out this show was voted #1 for the year 1991. And I was just picturing it based on what's popular today. Like a couple years ago, everybody was going crazy for Chainsaw Man, right? They were like, yo, you need to watch the show, it's crazy. And back in 1991, it was like, yo, Future Cyber Formula GPX is sick. This little boy drives all the time. At the end of the show, he makes it to the world championship, and against all odds, he wins, becoming the youngest world champ in history. The show is all right. I give it, the name of the opening song is I'll Come. And I was like, oh, is she gonna do that anime intro thing where she screams 2 random English words in the middle and the words are I'll come? That'd be pretty funny. But nope, that doesn't happen. Out of 10. All right, I'm gonna hit you with some stats. In these 20 shows we had 2 shows with aliens, 2 shows with vampires, 2 chosen ones, 1 giant robot show, only 1 magic girl, 2 shows with poor people schools, 3 shows where these high schoolers just be getting vehicles, and about 15 sex scenes. So the year 1991 had about over 100 shows, and I decided to break it down into smaller videos because instead of one huge video. And of course, there's an extra version on Patreon, 18+, and bloopers and other little things. That's about it. Peace out. Love you. See you later.